Here now is Lisa Bell and Candace Campos with Florida Foodie. Sponsored by Light Orlando, delivering hope together.
Hello and welcome to Florida Foodie. I'm your host, Lisa Bell, and today we are so excited to welcome back a returning guest. We last had the chef on back in 2021. Since then, he has earned a Michelin star and Bib Gourmand award. He's opened multiple restaurants around the Orlando area with more on the way. Thank you so much for coming back, Chef Mike Collantes. The last time we spoke, it was virtual, so it's wonderful to have you in studio.
It was virtual. I think I think we just had one baby on the docket and maybe one or two restaurants then. Yeah.
Wow. And so since then, so much has changed for you here in Orlando.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, you now have two young children, and juggling even more on your plate.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey. Just in that short period of time, we were able to procure a Michelin star for one of our restaurants in Winter Park, as well as our newest kind of venture baby is a Sushi Saint, which in less than 3 months, we got a Bib Gourmand, which is, kind of unheard of. Yeah.
So for people who aren't familiar with those awards, tell us what that actually means.
Right. So Michelin, it is the tire company. It is a tire company in 1901, 1900s. They formed in France to help sell more tires. So they came out with a guidebook. Now it's one of the most...
To get people driving all over the place.
You're right,
Yeah.
exactly. And now it's internationally known as one of the most well-regarded, guides for restaurants and hotels and things of that nature. And really an accolade that a lot of chefs are really, really after. I mean, it's not everything, but it's definitely something that, as a chef in fine dining, it's what you've always heard about in France. Yeah.
So what's the difference between a star and a Bib Gourmand?
Right. So a Bib Gourmand is usually right underneath a Michelin star. Stars are from 1, 2, and 3, 3 being the highest accolade. A Bib Gourmand is something that's, very, very good food at a great price point. And then maybe not as much of the bells and whistles of service and things like that. So a little bit more casual.
And you were saying since receiving those two awards, you have noticed a huge difference with the number of people visiting your restaurants, including international visitors.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Soseki is a 10-seat omakase, so leave it to the chef. You don't get any choice on menu. 18 to 24 courses, sourced all over the world, but also here locally. And it really is just this experience that, you got to kind of set some time apart and get after. Now, after the Michelin star, we're seeing international clientele and guests as well as our local guests, but really put us on the map for what we've been doing here at Winter Park.
So let's take us back to the beginning. You're from Winter Park.
Yeah,
Got your start in the culinary world at the Fashion Square Mall.
absolutely.
Tell me about that.
Humble beginnings. You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So I went to Winter Park High School, Glen Ridge, when my folks moved here from New York. And we are, Sabaro's Pizzeria.
That's where you got started.
I was 16, okay? So it was not like it was like a couple years ago, but I was 16. It was like my first spot. And
What did you do there?
everything. I was just like, I just want to make a little bit of money, get a cell phone, go have gas in the car. And then one restaurant job landed another one into another one. But it was time for college. I said, let me pursue this. And I went for it. Yeah.
And so you went to culinary school.
Went to culinary school here at Valencia. So shout out to Valencia for being my alma mater. Went to Valencia, and then I started working for Wolfgang Puck over in downtown Disney when I was over there, and ended up leaving them after 4 years being their head sushi chef, which is a terrible idea to be I think I was 21, 22 to start running a multi-million-dollar sushi operation in Disney. I don't know why they gave it to me, but I took it. And,
Yeah. Well, clearly they saw something in you and knew that there was going to be great success ahead.
yeah, definitely.
Isn't it amazing, though? I mean, having the opportunities at your fingertips here in Central Florida, kids from, say, like Ohio or Nebraska don't have like the opportunities that people have here to be able to work for some of those people.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's, we always, come up with the excuse. Even me, it's I need to move to a bigger state. I need to go to Los Angeles or New York when I was growing, or go to France overseas. So I think there's always that kind of syndrome of just, I could do more if I was somewhere else, but you work with what you have. And Orlando has been a great foundation, a great place. I mean, to find to to cultivate great talent now. It's just amazing.
Okay, and so just for our audience to be clear, you won the Michelin star for Soseki and the Bib Gourmand for Sushi Saint. You say that's a newer concept for you.
Yeah, that's a new concept.
So what can you expect there?
Right. So 2021, we got the Michelin for our fine dining omakase in Winter Park. Only 10 seats, so yeah, you got to make reservations. Sushi Chain opened up right next to the, I guess, Amway. What is it called now? Kia Center. With a group called Brew Theory. They had a brewery, like a manufacturing brewery, as well as a tap room, basically. And we said, hey, last year, November, we opened up our doors, something casual. There's no hand-rolled tamaki bar in town, so it's a different way to eat sushi, utilizing still the same quality that we do at our fine dining, and just making it a little bit more casual. Don't need reservations. Come for lunch or dinner scenario. And I'll be honest, 3 months in, still trying to figure it out. So for us to even get considered for a Bib Gourmand during that time, I think about that time and like, oh man, like we've changed so much since then. But very fortunate that we got rated and at a high level.
Because it's an interesting location. I mean, obviously, you think whenever there's an event at the Kia Center
Right.
or in downtown Orlando, certainly you have the foot traffic. But, in those off days, what's it like?
No, in the beginning, again, before the Bib Gourmand, or we're just 3 months in, it's tough. It was tough to get people down to this creative village area that we're really trying to start bringing some traction to on that side of town. And you're on the other side of downtown. There's really no reason to come over there except for the restaurant. So we're always thankful that people decide to get out of their comfort zone. We were just talking. You always want to stay in your bubble. So people are traveling to come see this. First of Orlando handroll bar. But off days it was tough in the beginning. Now we're seeing the downtown lunch crowd. When now there's so many people heading back downtown. Yes, the Amway events really do help, but we've cultivated this great following. I think it was one of our busiest weekends just this past weekend.
Okay.
Fantastic.
And you mentioned the Creative Village. I mean, more students, more people are moving into that area too.
Absolutely. Orlando's just kind of bustling right now. So our demographic of people is just changing so much.
Okay, so we're going to go back in time again because your first restaurant was Taglish.
Taglish, yes, yeah.
So tell us about Taglish because Taglish is also making a comeback.
Right, Taglish was our first go ahead. My wife and I, it's when you don't know anything about business, or opening your own business or your first one, you just take any deal, you figure it out, and I mean that was really it. We opened in a Korean supermarket on the edge of town with a little food stall doing not fine dining, but we definitely took the time and technique to do all of those things that fine dining does. And it was a challenge. COVID would just hit. It was 2020, but we were allowed to stay open, and it just continue to flourish. But as we got busier with the fine dining restaurants and other restaurants, our lease came up, and we decided to close that venture down. Never to really open it again. It was kind of, a moment in time. We loved it. It was the first one. But about a year and a half ago, we brought together a chef friend of mine named DJ Tanglin, who worked with me at 10 Arts by Eric Rapero, a fine dining kind of French restaurant in Philadelphia. And we stayed friends for 15 years, our family friends. Now, he moved back to here. He moved to Orlando. I kind of forced him to move to Orlando, and he was originally supposed to be the Taglish chef. This great opportunity came about to a food hall over in Ivanhoe in Virginia called I think it was called the Yard.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be taken over by a City Food Hall, and he's like, it's always been my passion, our passion, to do a restaurant or something together. So we have two concepts going in there. We're restarting Taglish.
So for Taglish, what is on the menu?
So Taglish is Tagalog in English. So good representation of not just traditional Filipino food. It's really the upbringing of everyone who's migrated to America. And I always say it was my connecting point back to my culture, which, I grew up here in the States. So it's been exploratory. Yesterday, we did our first pop-up We saw people we haven't seen in 3 years, or just coming through, and
They haven't forgotten.
they haven't forgotten. They
Yeah.
tell me exactly what they want to see on the menu,
Nice.
but this is going to be a lot of traditional Filipino fare with some American twist to it.
Okay. And so that's going to be in the food hall, if you will, called
Right.
near the Yard, which is a big apartment complex along Ivanhoe Village, which has
Right.
really been going through a lot of changes over the past 5 years, with the addition of those apartments there. I know there's some construction underway. We've had folks from Hammered Lamb have been in here talking about they can't wait for that construction to be over. So it's easier for people to get there. But almost doing a 180 there, your other concept inside the Yard food hall is going to
Right.
be French,
French, right.
which I
Back to
yes.
basics.
Yeah.
Which is so weird. And there is parking. I know we talked about there is
Yeah.
parking, everybody. I know,
There's a parking garage.
there's a parking garage. I believe we're going to be doing valet with the group. And the good thing is there's this new city food group, food hall, they're so open to being welcomed by the community, making sure that it's a community driven space, which I think, was, the previous tenants there, I think it was a missed opportunity. So opening it back up, and it's a beautiful hall. It's massive, a lot of green space there. Taglish will open downstairs with Chef DJ. It will have a 10-seat kind of chef's counter as well, so a little tasting counter called asin, which means salt in Tagalog. And then upstairs will be Shayla's Kopan, which is loosely translated. It really means just like being at your friend's house, but a little bit deeper than that, like being at a really good friend's house, your buddy. You're just coming over for a nice, drink and some food. So upstairs is about 40 seats, 40 seats outside with a wraparound terrace. We saw a big decline in French restaurants in this past couple of years. A lot of them have just closed up shop, and
Why do you think that's the case?
I think some of them are just institutions, like Coco Van and Cafe de France, and they were just institutions, and maybe just the season of time.
Yeah. I love French food.
I love French food. Yeah.
So who's going to be your chef there?
Chef DJ will run both operations, and so he's done French food, across the country, as well as just an amazing chef. I started after my first venture out of Florida. I went to Vegas and worked for Joe Robuchon. He at the time he had the most Michelin stars in the world. It's still coveted at 3 Michelin stars. It's French. Like, they didn't speak to me during operation hours. They really only talked to you in French. It was very rigid.
Do you speak French?
Not anymore. Just the bad words. I just I don't speak. But you had to listen. You had to know your counts. You had to hear orders fired and everything, and which really brought you into that culture. In the beginning, it was so hard, but that's when I fell in love with it.
So is that your goal as you open up these new concepts, to get another Michelin star?
I don't think it's ever. I mean, it's wonderful. It's not it's not on the top of the list to say, hey, why are we opening this? Is so, we want to be community driven. We want to support local farms and local, even potters and different artisans, and just create something unique and new for our community.
When you hope to open these 2 new concepts?
Oh, that's always a question. We do hope to open it in fall. We are planning for hopefully end of October
Of 2024.
of right now.
That's like days away.
Ambitious to say the least.
Yeah. Okay. And have you already started working on the menu? I have to assume you have.
Yeah. So we opened up Sushi Say in November, and then later in the summer of this year, we opened up Barcada. Barcada is a sake bar. It's a speakeasy sake bar right next to Soseki. So you go into Soseki, and you get led into a 30-room, no windows. I think Orlando Weekly gave us best restaurant with no windows. I don't even know if that's a real award, but we got it. And we've been doing these little preview nights and pop-ups.
Is there a special password for the speakeasy?
No, it's walk-in available. We're open Wednesday to Sunday. Benjamin Coots, who is our beverage director and general manager for our operations there, last year he got 2023 Michelin Psalm of the Year for his work in our very little Soseki space. we always said we wanted to see our guests a little bit more, hang out more. So we opened up a sake bar right next door. We offer a tasting menu, $85 tasting menu, as well as light bites throughout. We are doing sake classes. So a lot of um, the foundation of that place is, education with great food and hanging out. So
And going back to the yard, I have to imagine you're going to have quite the French wine option
absolutely,
available.
Benjamin will be handling the wine. I don't
Yeah.
know anything about what he does. I stick to the food, but hopefully a lot of champagne and oysters. That's
Can't
my
go wrong with
that's my
that.
only request.
Yeah. So you have so much that's coming online here in Central Florida. And so, for I would say a sane person, when you're looking to expand, you might think outside of Orlando, maybe Sanford, Mount Dora, but you have gone even farther. Tell us about another concept that you're working on.
Right. I always
I
say,
say a sane person in the kindest way possible.
I mean, no, this was a little bit out far fetched for me. I think the people always ask what were the, effects of getting a Michelin-starred. It's all about what you do with it in life, or what you get to a milestone, and how are you going to utilize it. And I've been doing consulting for the past year and a half with other brands, and it brought me to this new concept called Kaimana, which will be opening this fall in Dubai.
July, right
Dubai.
around the corner.
I leave in 2 days to go open to train the team in Dubai. Yeah.
And so what type of food is it going to be?
This is interesting too. I got connected through a great friend of mine. Just through the grapevine of people. John Rivers connected me to one guy, who connected me to a friend in Dubai. Said, I'm opening a Hawaiian concept beach club in Dubai. Have no idea what that is. Hawaiian food. So, they connected me. My wife and I lived in Hawaii. That was the last place we settled in before we decided to move back to Orlando and have kids, which was the whole purpose of our move back. So we've spent time in Hawaii. So we just met up in Hawaii. I gave them the tour, got to know me, had them try my food, and now we'll be opening up this beautiful, like, 300-person beach club off Dubai.
So what is this going to be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your sixth restaurant bar location?
Try not to count because I think it'll scare me. But this is a little bit of I wanted to do something international, test the waters out there, see how other people are operating, get in with some great developers there. And this is truly their project. I get to consult. I get to put my name on the menu and brand, and continue to showcase Orlando. I hope it does bring people some eyes and ears to what we're doing here in Florida.
Oh, that's got to be an amazing feeling to see your name, behind this project, not just here in your hometown, which is a huge honor in and of itself, but now in Dubai.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a testament of, this amazing team I get to work with, who takes care of the day-to-day. I'm still in the operations. You'll still see me bussing tables and things like that. But I don't know. I want to go for it.
Mhm.
And some people are very happy with where they're at, and it's fantastic. Opportunity comes, choose to take it or not.
Yeah.
So we're here in Dubai.
And, it's a great story for you because you were seeing success after success after success. But sadly, in the Central Florida area lately, we've seen a lot of businesses close.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Long time, restaurants that have been here for decades in some cases. Why do you think we're seeing that?
Oh, man. Success. Everyone hears about the good. No one really hears the bad or so we've closed restaurants before. We've had, failures. Absolutely. The failures define, I think, your success, which is so important. It teaches you an immense amount. So can't be afraid to fail. But it is very sad right now. But there are restaurants that are closing because of leases and other institutions of restaurants they've been doing this for 20 years. And so the sad ones, every story is sad. There's some that just came online about a year and a half ago that we're hearing about. And the economy has taken a big turn. This was probably, if you talk to most restaurateurs right now, this was probably one of the hardest hitting summers that we've had since COVID.
I'm assuming it's a combination of things, like almost like the perfect storm. Higher inflation, so people are watching their spending.
Right.
High rent costs.
Right.
Minimum wage has gone up, or there's just been pressure on, I think, wages. And not even, what's set as the minimum wage, but when people can go out and get jobs, at Disney or wherever, making a certain amount, then that puts pressure on you to raise your.
Yeah, at the end of the day, no matter how many restaurants we have, we are just a small business. It's my wife and I and a small, there is no corporate team.
Yeah.
Literally, is my wife and I trying to balance it all until, we can build corporate structure just like everyone else. But wow, it has been, yes, just this, 1-2 punches. Your biggest costs in restaurants are going to be labor and cost of goods, and we've seen them both go tremendously high. We've seen a huge decline in weekday sales, and really, people are going out still, but on the weekends, the nights are set apart. So we're seeing. It really is. It feels like COVID, in some senses, trying to fill seats, and Orlando is growing. We have the fine dining market, I think, has changed a lot in a great way. We've seen some great new brands come about, but we're all kind of pulling from the same reservoir, if it was. So and there's more. I think they said last year, 2024, there was over 100 restaurants planned, food and beverage operations planned for this year, which obviously with, influx of people coming in, there's going to be people coming out as well, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah.
Was I missing anything when I had that list of things? Inflation. Do you feel like prices are coming down at all? You talk about the cost of food and that sort of stuff.
Not yet. I know, not yet. It's just been still a fight. Yeah, and we want to keep that quality of product. We want to,
Yeah.
most of the restaurants, so Seki and Barcata, we're probably 80%, 85% local. So regardless, we are supporting La Coupe Farms and Four Roots Initiative to bring. It's like a coalition of multiple farms underneath one centralized place to get things from Sugar Top Farm and all these. It's like we want to continue
Yeah.
that message, so we're gonna continue to support. Absolutely. Yeah.
Beyond your plans for Dubai and the few things that you mentioned at the yard, any other plans for the future?
Oh, I don't want to scare you. I just signed on a great project with the Widening Company, which is local real estate developers, and here in Central Florida, and they picked up this beautiful Art Deco building in uh, Houston,
Oh,
and it's so crazy. Uh, great friends of ours who've come to our restaurants multiple times, and he's like, "Hey, Mike, I've got I got a beautiful building I just purchased, but it has a food hall." I said, "What do you do? What do you know about food halls?" He's like, "Absolutely nothing." That's why he's calling me, and I said, "Well, let me I can help. I can do a quick assessment of the place." And again, consulting has been one of the things I've been doing, where I just come in and see what the books look like. I just kind of open everything up and bring it to clients and let them know what's going on.
do you think for restaurant owners, if you had the means to purchase your actual building, it seems like we see great restaurants with great food that are busy, but they go out because they can't afford the rent.
Oh, 100%. Once they see some success, Luma was a perfect example. They've been there, I think, 16 years, and then their rent jumped. When it was time for the rent to jump, it just went astronomical. And you hear that a lot from these
And then
landlords.
these buildings oftentimes sit empty, and I think people.
They'd
Yeah.
rather it sit empty than and raise rents to an extreme amount. It happened with John Rivers and the Coop.
It's still empty. I just
Still
drove by it the other
The
day.
building got purchased, and they wanted to raise it. Triple their rent, and they said no. And now it's just sitting empty. And these are the things that, as small business owners, we don't have the opportunity to purchase these buildings. So, but they see our success, they've seen the money we've put into these restaurants and these operations, and we get kind of, yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. It's tough, but you're still in the fight and doing
We're still in
a
the
lot of
fight.
great work. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. This is home for us, and Orlando
Yeah.
has been really good to us. The community's been really good. I think supporting all these local is the way to go. But it's just so exciting.
Mm.
There's so many restaurants coming about. It's ridiculous.
Yes. Yeah.
There's so many choices, and so it's just an exciting time to be part of the Florida food scene.
Well, I can't wait to go to the yard. And it's going to be hard to go whether to Tagfish or to your new French restaurant.
Absolutely. Well, there's
They're two completely different. So I'm going to go, I guess, on 2 different days.
yeah. One, do a date night upstairs and then have a, casual night downstairs.
With the kids.
But I think they're going to bring in some really great vendors, a lot of local vendors to just fill the space. So it's going to be a nice mix.
Awesome. Where can people find you online and stay up to date with everything that's...
Oh, goodness. Any one of the restaurants, Sushi Saint, Barcata, Soseki, Michelin-starred.com is where we do most of the consulting. We're going to be doing some catering and private dinners at home, which is a fun one to do. Bring a sushi chef home or, home with you. May not be me, but, one of our other amazing team members. So,
Well, Mike, as always, it's been fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to Florida Foodie. We'd also like to thank our guest, Mike Collantes. You can learn more about his business online at MikeCollantes.com. Be sure to follow Lisa Bell online. Search Lisa Bell News on Facebook and Instagram. You can also find Candace Campos on social media. On Facebook, search Candace Campos News 6. And on Instagram, search Candace Campos, WKMG. Also, a big thank you to our entire production team. I'm the show's producer, Thomas Mates. Please take the time to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify or wherever you stream podcasts. And you can find videos of all of our podcasts on clickorlando.com and on YouTube. Just search for Florida Foodie.